I'm Lizzie and this is Reads, and welcome to Baking and Book Chat episode 1. If you've watched any of my vlogs, I often do baking. I always try and film bits of baking and include it in my videos, but sometimes it's just really hard to get all the clips in and it just ends up taking too much time and out of the video, and I just really have wanted to combine two of my hobbies for quite some time. Now, with Christmas coming up and me being really busy with reading, filming for videos, because I've got so many fun ideas, and also chatting to you about books, I decided to combine two of my favourite hobbies so that we are talking about books and baking at the same time. It's not going to be anything high tech. I was saving this video idea for once our kitchen is redone, but I've decided I don't care. I just want to film it, and I thought it would be fun. Jane's Patisserie is one of my favourites. She is literally got the best chocolatey, lovely bakes. And I'm going for something simple, and I'm just going to make cookies. I'm going to use her NYC chocolate chip cookies recipe. However, I will be making fudge cookies. So in my local Asda, I found these fudge chunks, and I thought it would be really nice to make some fudge cookies instead of just normal chocolate chip cookies. And they didn't have any normal chocolate chips anyway. So I'm going to be making those and talking to you about a few things whilst I'm baking. And if these cookies turn out shit, then this video will not be going anywhere. So I'm just going to start by adding the soft light brown sugar and the white granulated sugar, well, measuring it out first. This might be a test in multitasking that I am not ready for, because I cannot do two things at once often, but I'd like to be able to. One of the first things that I wanted to talk about was the breaking news that is all over the internet, that the Princess Diaries is being made into a third film. So there's going to be a third Princess Diaries film. Now, you might think, why do you care, Lizzie? Well, I have very strong opinions on the Princess Diaries too. So if you've been with me for a while, particularly lockdown 2020, I had a reread of the Princess Diaries series. I loved it as a teenager, and then I reread it, I think, when I was at uni, and I basically loved it again, and then reread it again during lockdown, the latter half of 2020. And where's my butter? Okay. I reread it during the latter half of 2020 and loved it. Again, reminded me of the fact that the second Princess Diaries movie is full of shit. If you've either read or watched the movies, you'll know the Princess Diaries is about Mia Thermopolis, and she is a princess and she didn't know she was. Now, the first film makes is that in the film, her dad's dead. In the books, her dad is very much alive. 2 seconds. Okay, so all my sugars and my butter is in, and I'm gonna mix it together. So in the films, her dad's dead. Don't like that, because I very much like that her dad is alive in the films, and there's so much more to the books. There always is. That's fine. The second movie goes completely offbeat, because there are 10, well, technically 11 Princess Diaries books, and in book 10, Mia Thermopolis goes through quite a few boyfriends in her teenage years and throughout the Princess Diaries series, and I love it. I don't love all of them, but it's really good fun, and it's so funny. It's like, I read it now and I just laugh, because even though Mia is a total dramatic bitch and she's so over the top, she is a teenage girl. Like, that is what I was like. Except I didn't have that much money, so I didn't get away with nearly as much as she did. But yeah, so she's super dramatic and it's great. In Princess Diaries 2, the only thing in that film that can be riding down the palace steps on mattresses. That's the only thing. Like the film itself, if I hadn't read the books, it would be great. But the fact that she ends up with this other prince, in my heart, she's loved Michael and she always loves Michael, and she marries Michael, and spoilers for the books, she ends up with Michael. End goals, end game, everything. Truly, it is the epitome of best friend's brother. It started everything. I should have known. I should have known when I was a teenager that this was the start of my romance journey. I should have known. And I'm not happy about it. I'm just saying, they're going to push this narrative that Mia Thermopolis is with this other guy, and if she... I just cannot bear to see everyone gushing over this guy when Michael is on the table, because Michael is the best, and I'm just not happy about this. I'm not really that happy. So that was my first point. I just wanted to have a little moan about book to TV differences in the Princess Diaries 2. So after I've done this, I need to add an egg and vanilla extract. So I'm going to just wing the vanilla extract. I'm going to bring it here. I'm just going to wing it because I never eyeball always. And then I'm going to wing the vanilla extract and one egg, add the egg. So I've added the vanilla extract and the egg, and now we're going to talk about a light in the flame. So I basically have been a huge Flesh and Fire, a Shadow in the Ember, like anything in the From Blood and Ash world by JLA, I'm a huge supporter of. As you may know, there's so many videos dedicated to the main series and the prequel series on my channel, and I am always reading them on release date. Actually, in real time, the release date was yesterday for a Light in the Flame, which is the second book in Sarah and Nyxos's story. And this is the prequel series, and book 2 came out yesterday. And I haven't read it yet. And the reason I haven't read it is because I want the print copy. But the hardback is £27 and won't arrive for 3 weeks. And the paperback is yet to arrive on Amazon, because in the UK it somehow takes forever to get the paperback online. It's currently showing a mass market paperback. So if it's not uploaded by Friday, then I will be just reading the ebook, because they just want to take my money. I have the audiobook, which is my preferred way to read them, but I like to have the physical book, and these are looking so good already. So this is what they're looking like now. To be fair, I'm realising that probably looks kind of gross on camera. Yeah, it does look really gross on camera. I'm not a pro baker, but I do love baking. I'm just adding 300 grams of flour now, if it will let me without making too much mess. Oh, we went a little bit over, but it's okay. It's not the Great British Bake Off. And then I just need to add a little bit of sea salt. So I'll be doing that now. And then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. There is a mix of baking powder and bicarb, but I do not currently have any bicarb, so we're just going with baking powder. It'll be fine. 1 teaspoon or so, 2 teaspoons of that. We're really not perfect around here, so do not stress. So really, I'm just using this video to stand in front of you and use something else at the same time. It's not the most artistically shot video. I would like it to be, but it's currently not. I've had some really serious troubles with editing one of my Christmas romance vlogs, which is going up later this month. And then I realised, because I've had so much trouble with it, I'm then behind on other videos, including this one. This one was meant to be filmed a few days ago. But because I've been focusing on the other video, because I can't film without the memory and having too many of the same thing floating around, like different versions, it's just been causing me agony. Yes, and that has put everything behind. So I've just spent the first half of my lunch break before making these on trying to figure out how I'm going to get everything filmed, edited and uploaded in the time that I want it to be. But we'll give it our best shot, we'll see. Now it's starting to sort of come into a dough. It's looking really good in real life, potentially not for you guys. And I'm going to add my fudge chunks and see how we get on. Let's go try one. Oh, they're nice. To be fair, they're quite nice. Okay, so I've mixed in the fudge chunks, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like. Obviously, there's not much colour variation because the fudge chunks are the same colour as the dough. So I've just had to go and wash my hands because the next step is to just roll the dough into balls, and I'm going to freeze it for half an hour or till I next get a break off work, and then they will be good to bake, and that's what keeps them not too like sloppy. So I'm just going to pop some baking paper in the bottom of the box. Don't worry, I will reuse it when baking them in the oven. And I'm going to start rolling these. And I thought, while I roll, I'm going to talk to you about the Goodreads Choice Awards, so the best books of 2022. Now, these went live, I think, a few days ago. And I haven't looked at them yet because I don't really use Goodreads anymore. I'm more using Storygraph, and I'm more into things like that. So let's have a little look-see at what's in the fiction. Let's start with the fiction round. We'll just go through. So in here, there is no books that I have read. Nothing of a surprise. The only books that I might have read in here that I would normally read is potentially the Jodi Picots, because I've always just really liked the Jodi Picots books. Real big fan of them. But again, nothing coming up for there. So I'm going to move on to mystery and thriller. Keep it easy breezy. Let's have a little look-see. Oh, Richard Osman, of course, but I read the first one and I actually didn't like it. So that's helpful, isn't it? Little Cold Cases, I've heard good things about that, but I don't know. Lucy Foley, again, not read that. No, I've not read any of those. Not really my genre. Best historical fiction. No, not read any of these. Oh, the Taylor Jenkins Reid I might have read, but I've only really read Evelyn Hugo, really. So let's just roll one of these balls up. And this is what they look like. Okay, so best fantasy. Now, first of all, we have Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which I read and liked okay, but not enough to keep the special edition of it. I did sell it because it was worth money, and I wanted the money more than keeping it. So that shows you how much I liked it. Then there's Thistlefoot, which I've never heard of. Neither Ordinary Monsters, or Keiki, no, Electra. In the World We Make by N.K. Jemisin. Stardust Thief. No, Nettle and Bone. Not read that. There's obviously, oh my god. So there's Sarah J Maas, House of Sky and Breath. Just getting another sheet for the box so that I can load a couple. I'm going to do another sheet because I'm probably going to need another set. So Sarah J Maas is on there, of course, with House of Sky and Breath, but I wasn't expecting to see The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now, do I think that it's the right area for it? Potentially not, because it's not, I suppose it is fantasy, but it's more like fantasy romance, and it's like, I just feel like it's preordained to get loads of votes. I mean, it's not going to be because Sarah J Maas is there, and lots of people hated The War of Two Queens. When I personally loved it, the things that people were hating on, I personally completely disagreed with. I have a whole spoilery video on that down below. But yeah, so it is obviously my favourite book that I have read in this series. So I don't know, it's a difficult one, isn't it? But then When Women Were Dragons, I'm not sure of, and then a Brandon Sanderson. I haven't read any Sanderson at this stage. The Book Eaters I've heard really good things about, and then obviously there's Stephen King, who's often a winner, I believe. The Atlas 6, I still haven't read The Atlas 6. I would like to, but I haven't at this point. Babel by R.F. Kuang. Wasn't the biggest fan of that, just wasn't for me as such. Then we've got a very secret society of irregular witches, which sounds like something I would read, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm all but down to read that. Legends and Lattes, which I am hoping to read at some point soon and will probably really love. A River Enchanted I haven't read, and I haven't ever read any Naomi Novik, so I am not the best person to be asking. So I'm not surprised by any of those. I didn't make any predictions, but I'm not hugely surprised by those sort of additions. But at the end of the day, I've not read a lot of them to compare. Obviously, one of my favourite books of the year is in there, but I don't think that as a vote it should win is a difficult one. But now we're on to Best Romance, which I don't think I'm going to have read many of these, so we shall see. So we've got Electric Idol, which I have not read, and Dating Dr. Dill by Nisha Sharma. I haven't read, but I do own. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I haven't read Book Lovers, but I loved her other two. Hook, Line and Sinker by Tessa Bailey I haven't read, but I've read the first in this series and I loved it. Every Summer After by Carly Fortune I have not read. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty I have not read, but I do own. Twisted Hate I have read and didn't like as much as the other books in the series, so Love on the Brain I have read, and it was okay. Thank You for Listening, not read. Things We Never Got Over, not read. Terms and Conditions, not read yet, but didn't like the first one in the series that much. Funny You Should Ask, not read. Reminders of Him, not read. The Bodyguard I've not read. The Kiss Curse I've not read. Delilah Green Doesn't Care I have read and did enjoy. The Wedding Crasher by Mia Souza I haven't, but I've read the first book in this series, The Worst Best Man, or another book by Mia Souza, and loved it. One of my first introductions to romance. And then we have Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. Not read that. It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. Not read. And The American Roommate Experiment by Eleanor Armas. I did not like The Spanish Love Deception, so I don't think I will be. Decent. And I am going to vote for Delilah Green Doesn't Care because it was the one that I enjoyed the most out of this list. Science fiction. Let's see if there's anything in there. Now that the bowl's done, I'm going to eat some. I haven't read. I've only heard of No Nut and the Ninth, and I don't intend on reading that anytime soon, so... Horror. I've not read I've heard of Darcy Coates from Cassie's been reading a lot of their works recently, so I've heard of them but not read them. I'm really useless. Best humour. No, these all look shit. Not interested in any of these non-fictions. Let's look at YA. Oh, best memoir. Oh look, Jeanette McCurdy's there. I'm going to vote for... I didn't even look at the rest of them, but I'm going to vote for them. Best history and biography. I'm not interested. Graphic novels. See, I'm probably going to vote for Heartstopper just because I love it so much. There's not much else on there of note other than Laura Olympus. And that's the only other ones that I've read. I have read a bit of Saga, but not completely. Poetry I'm completely bypassing. Best debut. None of these I know other than Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which I will vote for because it was good, but wasn't great. Young adult fiction. Nope, not read any of these. Except... Oh, I Kiss Shara Wheeler. I'm voting for that because I love Casey McQuiston. Young adult, science fiction and fantasy. So the ones I've read out of YA, science fiction and fantasy is Gallant, Only a Monster, and that's it. But I loved Only a Monster. I thought it was really good. Oh, and The Ballad of Never After. No, I've read the first ballad, the first one in that Stephanie Garber series, but not the second one yet, because I'm waiting for my Fairy Loot copy to arrive. And then lastly, in middle grade and children's, I haven't read any of these, but I'm voting for Amari and the Great Game because Amari and the Night Brothers was one of my best books of last year. So I guarantee that I will love it. So these are now going in the freezer. They've really softened a bit. I feel like it's too warm in here to be making them. But they are now going in the freezer for half an hour and I will return in a... It is much later now. The cookies have been in the freezer for quite some time. I'm not going to plate them. I'm not going to cook them all today because I just feel like they'd be better not being all eaten in one go. But what I will do is they do look a bit... They look a bit different than I normally get them when I get them out of the freezer. I think it's to do with the, I don't know, the heat in the room. Yeah, I'm going to just spread them onto a baking tray. I'll do 2 trays worth, so like that. And then what I'll do is I leave the rest in the freezer. And then when I want them, they're there to basically be cooked. It's really handy. I like having cookies in the freezer at all times. I mean, they're a little bit too frozen right now because they're all sticking to the bloody paper. It's not turning out as good as I would have hoped. But we're going to roll with it. Okay, so this is what the tray looks like. And this is what these ones look like. And they're going to go in the oven now. And probably won't talk to you again until they're out. I'm going to set a timer for 6 minutes. How long do they go in the oven for? 12 to 14, so let's set a timer for 6 minutes. And I'll let you know when they're out. So I have finished my baking. I got the bits out the oven. Now we have some absolutely delicious looking. I'll pop a nice picture of them on the screen so you can actually see, not in my potato camera. So yeah, I hope you like this first chat and bake with me. Hopefully next time we'll do something a little bit more complex and we'll see how we get on. I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you so much for watching this video.